All right, another striking headline from the Standard today. This is the same paper that talked about four-star brat. And many others. And I think we should dedicate one day to just take a look at the two-word headlines by the Standard. Very striking. Another one here, clueless health CS. Okay, 3 words. Which way, they ask, Deborah Barasa appeared ill-prepared to face the press after calling for an interview. When questioned on the public health insurance scheme, she struggled with answers, just like when she appeared before the Senate last week. Anne, I think you attended this presser. Do you agree that she appeared a bit clueless?
I would not say she looked clueless or she sounded clueless, because she knew what she was saying. She came prepared. Maybe the questions that she was being asked, it was beyond her.
Nile exam imekuja na teacher kufunza.
Yes. Anauliza swali as the script.
So kama muulizo maswali na uelewi. Clueless. Yes. A bit harsh. So when she appeared before the legislators, wanasema, there is not a country in the world that has effectively implemented universal health care that is funded through premiums. This is Okiya Omtata. So there are quite a number of reactions, especially from the Senate, that have been included there on the front page, because the CS, before yesterday's presser, had actually appeared before the Senate. Now, they were not very happy with her. Yes, they are not happy with her kabisa. Na alisema hata ni kama ni clueless. Hiyo wanakubaliana na hii gazeti.
Yeah.
All right.
Na alisema ni must. This is not optional. And ungeona akisema the must, you will know. You must register for Taifa Care. Yes.
All right. Meanwhile, President William Ruto sent out a statement yesterday on the issues, especially regarding pending bills by hospitals, zile za NHIF. Akasema ile plan iko. And we're just wondering, shouldn't that be the job of the CS? Why is the president talking even about how hospitals will be paid, I don't know, 2 million shillings? That's way above, it's way below his pay grade. All right? Other quick highlights on the front page of the Standard this morning. Why Raila's plan on NADCO may be a pipe dream. Remember, Raila Odinga had said that for his expected union with William Ruto, the NADCO report should be implemented in full. Nasikia MPs wamesema, we italeta hapo shida. Hii atuoni kiwaka. So what will happen going forward? Other quick highlights. Kin eulogized Chebukati as firm and honest. Family and friends took time to remember moments shared with the former IEBC boss who's set to be buried later this week. There's a very disturbing story about the teen killing that set Majengo slum on fire yesterday. There's a boy who was shot by police, allegedly by police, when coming back from prayers, Ramadan prayers, and that ended up in riots. With even a police vehicle being torched in Majengo. That's the Standard front page. On the back, of course, the mighty Arsenal are the real 7-star generals. Walifunza PSV soccer, mabao 7-1. You know that's how football should be played, eh?
Yeah.
I keep telling you the way Arsenal plays, how football should be played. Yes. That's a Standard.
Daily Nation. Pastors paying for 20 million shillings Ruto gift. Costly prize. Jesus Winner Ministry founder Edward Mwai has dumped a phone number he has had for over 15 years after endless calls, mostly from angry youth demanding answers on a 20 million shillings donation by President William Ruto, jammed his handset. Now his wife Agnes hasn't been spared abusive messages either, but the cleric insists the president never left him any money. Furious youth believe he received the cash and should have rejected president's donation. Labda aliambiwa atapewa, lakini
mimi hata hiyo pesa sijapata, rudisha. And we want proof that you actually returned it.
Alisalimiwa hapo kweli kweli.
Alisalimiwa proper.
All right. Other top stories here. Sha crisis. President offers hospitals pay deal to end crippling boycott. You've talked about it. Story on page 12. And they say list. Another story there is list of names and qualifications of all applicants for the position of chairperson and members of IEBC. Hapa watu wengi mlisema lazima muende hiyo kiti. On the top strip, we see Koome, top judges, Trump card in trial, and the proposed removal of Supreme Court judges, including the Chief Justice, of alleged misconduct has taken a new twist after one of the judges asked for expansion of High Court bench hearing case. This story is on the back page of the Daily Nation. And it says the proposed removal of Supreme Court judges, including Chief Justice Martha Koome, of alleged misconduct has taken a new twist after one of the judges asked for expansion of the High Court bench, a move that triggered protest from proponents of the austere mission. Ahmed Nasir Abdullah is quoted here saying, "This is a deliberate delay. We know the Chief Justice is the one to empanel the bench and is a party in these proceedings." And that's the Daily Nation.
There's one story there on the front page of the Daily Nation that I think we should also pay attention to, and that's police officers assaulting Nation journalists. Residents of Nairobi's Majengo estate have accused police of running an extension scheme and linked to the fatal shooting of this 17-year-old Ibrahim Ramadan, whose death triggered violent protests. Now, he died hours later in hospital. Meanwhile, police officers assaulted Nation journalists covering the riots yesterday. And this is something that we need to condemn as journalists as well. We have a picture there of a police officer shielding his colleague who was deleting footage recorded by the NTV crew.
Allah.
This has to be condemned. And to the police officers, we say this is not how to work. Shame on you. That's the Daily Nation. On the People Daily, how young Kenyans are duped into slavery. They talk about the labor, and because we have the CS labor there. Agony in Myanmar. The story is on page 8, and this is a continued stories about Kenyans who are in different countries and are living in abject need. Probably their living conditions are not proper. Probably they're being treated as slaves. Now we see this in Myanmar. We've had stories about even Saudi Arabia and other places, especially in the Gulf. So this is in Myanmar as well. How young Kenyans are duped into slavery. Coming at a time when the CS for Labor has engaged and embarked on a campaign of getting more people to actually be recruited and leave the country for jobs abroad. Mudavadi Wetangula will not be touched in reshuffle, swears Ruto. Yes, he was telling members of Western Kenya, Musijali. Malala juzi alisema hata huyu prime cabinet secretary hata job yake hatujui kama atapata, hata Weta hatujui kama next week atakuwa speaker. So the president had to respond to that and say no. Those two will not be touched. The story is on page 5. Catholics mark Ash Wednesday. That picture there on the front page of the People Daily. I've not seen any other paper that has dedicated any piece of news to the Ash Wednesday. At least not in Kenya. We've seen in
Business Daily.
In Tanzania. Oh,
we have it in Business Daily.
We'll get there. Another story. This time around, it's not the Auditor General, but it's the budget controller. Control of budget.
Margaret Nyakango.
And how 10 counties used over 100 bank accounts. What's the need for all these bank accounts, if not fraud? Paleju, the very top strip Gachagua allies kicked out of House committees, finally. Even this Kiharu MP, Ndindi Nyoro, was kicked out as chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Will this have any political ramifications? We'll be discussing that later. That's the People Daily today.
Let's take a look at the Star Raw deal for cops, prisons in 9 billion shillings cover scheme. Let's just take a look at what it says. The story is on page 4 and 5. And they say this 8.6 billion shillings police insurance scheme does not work. An audit shows the officers are left to struggle accessing compensation and other benefits despite the insurer receiving billions of taxpayers' money. The cover was to provide comprehensive medical care, life insurance, compensation for injuries sustained in the line of duty, and benefits in case an officer dies. Now, in the circumstance, management did not adequately monitor the implementation of the contract to ensure that the contract terms are complied with and ensure value for money and benefit to the members and their beneficiaries. Interesting, and that is an audit by the Auditor General, Nancy Gathungu. Another story there is the story of Majengo, the protest in Majengo yesterday. And Majengo erupts in protest after police killed teen. This is Ibrahim Ramadan, was buried yesterday at the Kamukunji cemetery. Other top stories there, Gachagua and Kalonzo teams now plan joint engagements countrywide. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his allies are planning a series of nationwide engagements as talks on alliances continue to take shape. Now Gachagua, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa and George Morara, okay, that is Morara Kibas of the Inject Party, have teamed up to unseat President William Ruto. Jimmy Wanjigi of Safina Party and Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka also attended the meeting, and the team has so far had 2 strategy meetings in Nairobi in the past week, with the latest one being on Tuesday. On the top strip, Nzao Musau of Ballerina Dress Entering Politics. That story is on page 16. It's a comment. And Chinese MPs, farmers, taxi drivers, businessmen meet for once a year summit. Stories on pages 14 to 15 of the Star. Because fresh, independent and different, and that's the Star.
All right. Finally, matters business. The front page of the Business Daily, big headline there. Banks force Treasury to pay KQ's 19 billion shilling defaulted loan. Now we've been told that KQ made actually profits for the very first time last year, but it's simply because they transferred their debts to Treasury. So 8 commercial banks have now forced the Treasury to pay them this amount, 19.3 billion shillings, in full for unpaid loans to Kenya Airways, and rejected an offer to recover the defaulted debt through a 6.5-year bond. So alikuwa naambiwa si tunaweza weka bond alafu hiyo ndio itawalipa. Wasa lipa. Because Kenya Airways itself has no money to settle the debt. That's a big story there on the front page of the Business Daily. How frozen forex dealer diverted clients 215 million shillings. This is a city-based online forex trader has been charged with defrauding clients of 215.3 million shillings, adding to his troubles following the suspension of his firm's license by the Capital Markets Authority. And it was Michael Gitonga, alias Tosh. Other quick highlights on the ticker. Auditor flags a 5 billion contingency fund withdrawal. Hey, we Auditor General ameendelea bana. Contingency fund, 5 billion. So the Auditor General, Nancy Gathungu, has questioned the disbursement of some 5.03 billion shillings to various ministries from the contingencies fund for expenditure that was not urgent. It's supposed to be for emergencies, lakini ilitolewa kwenda kufanya mambo ya kawaida. Stanbic raises dividend 35%. How Mauritius Bank lost 969 million shillings in Chase Bank. And CBK in talks with banks to overhaul loan pricing models. So commercial banks are in talks with the CBK for an overhaul of their loan pricing models amid concerns about their reluctance to cut interest rates. So that conversation continues. The story is there on the Business Daily. It is exactly 25 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at the cartoons. Remember, for State of the Nation today, we'll be having Makali Mulu, MP Kitui Central, Wilson Sosion, a former SGKNUT, Dr. Peter Mbai, leadership and governance expert, and Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Do stand by for that, starting after 6:30. We had already taken a look at the regional papers, so let's take a look at the cartoons. We start off with this one on the People Daily.
We see a caricature here of Raila Odinga, bado ana consult with himself. Akisema, should I play my game, eat the orange or sell them? Tuliona mwingine akisema last week, ensure they sell out.
Ni sell out. So kuna kuuza. There's an aspect of selling.
Yes.
Anacheza pool pale na machungwa.
People Daily.
Harry is back. This is a Standard. They have another cartoonist called Harry. That's why the Standard, we've been seeing cartoons with a lot of color, but Harry doesn't like that much color. So a caricature of President William Ruto looking at a very, what do you call this, skinny cow. That's the economy, which is eating nothing from due to inflation. Like I said, never doubt the power of prayer. So he's carrying billions in taxes. Na upande kuna churches wame extend hands. They are very ready to receive from an economy that's struggling. That's a Star. Sorry, the Standard.
This is the Star.
Yes.
Matters Sha, tunaona Auditor General anawamulika hapo, but the CS anashangaa, what are you trying to say?
Ameipiga x-ray. Anaangalia mahali Sha imevunjika huko ndani. Anakuambia ndio hii picha, hapa ndio shida iko. Lakini CS amejificha huko nyuma. Ameitwa clueless. Yes.
All right, that's the Star caricature. This one is the Daily Nation. Okay, caricatures here of still Raila Odinga hapo. Ajui aende wapi.
Amezunguka mpaka hapa. Hii ni jogoo ama ni kulukulu?
That's a jogoo.
So he's turning all directions.
Yes. Hapa nyuma, this is a caricature. Hii ni shati ya former president Uhuru Kenyatta, and that one looks like the president's Kaunda suit. So kuna broad-based government hapo pia, na kuna final last bullet.
Have you realized what this is? This is a trap. Wamemrushia tumaindi pale chini.
Yes.
Anaambiwa kuja huku. We are trap na broad-based government. Kuja hapa, akiingia tu hapa hii inavuruta.
Amekamatwa.
Upande mwingine anaambiwa is your last bullet. Final. You can run again probably in 2027. Amechanganyikiwa, lakini amekuwa hapa kama kuku. Ni kama kuku inaenda kushikwa. Sio mimi nimesema, lakini ni cartoon. This is a cartoonist on the Daily Nation. I'm just trying to verbalize what he's expressing here. All right. So those are the conversations we're having in Kenya especially. And we'll be back here immediately after the break to take a look at that and a lot more later on the show.
We'll be talking to Dr. Ezekiel Oira, Dean of Students, Mount Kenya University School of Law, and Professor Fructus Bigirimana, still Dean of Students, Mount Kigali University School of Law, on legal training in Kenya and Rwanda.
Right. Later on,
International Women's Day is coming up this Saturday on the 8th. We'll be talking to Catherine Obuino, Marketing and Customer Service Director, HACO, on empowering women, shaping the future.
Right, do stand by for that later on the show.
Meanwhile, interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. On X at TV47 News KE, my handle is _Odida.
My X handle is @FredIndemoli.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50, going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
You're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water.
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine.
After a prolonged standoff on the reconstitution of committees in the National Assembly, the matter has finally been resolved. However, the reconstitution has not come without casualties, as allies of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua are facing a ruthless purge in the reshuffle, with some having been demoted from lucrative positions of chairpersons to mere members of committees.
It's in the custom of Parliament to recognize invited guests.
Among the biggest casualties of the reshuffle is Githunguri Member of Parliament Gathoni Wamuchomba, who was removed as chairperson of Constitutional Oversight and Implementation Committee CIOC and reassigned to the Members Services Committee, which is seen as less influential role. Similarly, Embakasi Member of Parliament James Gakuya lost his position as chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Trade and was moved to Parliamentary Broadcast and Library Committee. Runyenje's Member of Parliament Eric Karemba Mushagi, who opposed Gachagua's impeachment motion, was transferred from Labour Committee to Constitutional Oversight Implementation Committee CIOC. And the fate of Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro remains uncertain as he awaits election to determine whether he will retain his seat in the powerful Budget Committee, with sources suggesting that his stance on the Gachagua impeachment motion may cost him the position.
Whatever has been tabled before this House, Mr. Speaker, is kangaroo. It is null and void. It cannot operate because they are standing orders and the procedure and rules of this House, the traditions. When Mheshimiwa Kimani Ichung'wah, when several honorable members were de-whipped from committees, the Honorable Wangwe, who is the immediate former whip, wrote letters to specific members.
On the flip side, however, Raila Odinga's allies are now set to lead 5 key departmental committees: Labour, Budget and Appropriations Committee, Regional Integration, Health and Trade Committee, positions that have traditionally been held by ruling coalition. This comes even as schedule for elections is set to be actualized tomorrow.
Invoking the name of Kimani Ichung'wah to look popular out there, my friend, go and do those things in the County Assembly of Kajiado, not in the National Assembly. Spend your time in the National Assembly discussing matters of greater importance to the people of Kajiado North, who are suffering without roads.
Others exed from various key committees include Tetu Member of Parliament Godfrey Wandeto, who was removed from the Public Investment Committee on Social Services and the Department Committee on Information and Technology and reassigned to the Regional Development Committee. Kajiado Member of Parliament Onesmus Ngogoyo was removed from the Energy, Forest and Mining Committee and transferred to Parliamentary Broadcast and Library Committee, which is considered less influential. Naivasha Member of Parliament Jen Kiara was ousted from the Lands Committee and moved to Member Services Committee. Gatanga Member of Parliament Edward Muriu was removed from Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and Powers and Privileges Committee and now reassigned to the Parliamentary Service and Library Committee. Marakwet West Member of Parliament Timothy Toroitich, who rejected Gachagua's impeachment as well, was removed from Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and Education Committees and now set to serve in Parliamentary Broadcast and Library Committee. Outspoken Mumias East Member of Parliament Peter Salasia was shifted from Agriculture Committee to the Members Services Committee, while Manyata MP John Mukunji was removed from Housing Committee and now is set to serve in the Committee on Oversight and Implementation. Changes in the National Assembly comes just few days after similar changes were effected in the Senate, which saw former DP Gachagua's allies exed. Even now, they vow to fight back. Elizabeth Motuko, TV47 Palm Buildings, Nairobi.
Yes, indeed. You're still watching Morning Cafe on TV47. My name is Fred Indemoli. Time for us to take a look at the headlines. And we start off from that point. ODM set to reap big as Gachagua allies kicked out. There's a lot of chatter on whether or not this will have any political ramifications, especially the removal of Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro from the influential Budget and Appropriations Committee to be replaced now by ODM's Sam Atandi, the MP for Alego Songa. Will this have any political ramifications? Allow me to introduce my panelists this morning. Beginning on my immediate left, Makali Mulu, MP Kitui Central. Karibu sana.
Hi, good morning.
Next to Bwana Makali Mulu, we have Wilson Sosion, Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, former member of the National Assembly and also served as SGO of the Great National Union of Teachers, KNUT. Karibu sana, Bwana Sosion.
Asante, Fred.
With us this morning also is Senator Tabitha Mutinda. Karibu sana. It's good to have you in studio.
Shukran.
And Dr. Peter Mbaya, leadership and governance expert, a familiar face on this panel. Karibu sana. Let's start with you, Bwana Makali Mulu. I know you were right there in Parliament and you know how it feels to lose some of these positions. For Ndindi Nyoro, perhaps the biggest casualty in this, do you think this will have any more political ramifications because the president and the ruling party appeared a bit cautious to antagonize the Mount Kenya region any further?
Okay, thank you, Fred, for hosting us. From where I sit, I don't think it will have any issue in terms of political implications, because you realize that some of these positions in Parliament these days, position of the chairperson and the deputy chairperson, the standing orders require that you be elected by members. But that is not happening in the 13th Parliament. In the 13th Parliament, people are appointed from outside Parliament. So if you have been appointed and not elected, the appointing authority has the power to take away the position. So I'm imagining Ndindi would feel bad if it was a vote of no confidence from colleagues. But if it's just somebody, the appointing authority saying, I've decided you are no longer worthy to serve in that position because of your association, then personally, I don't think it will have any impact. He will just continue being a member of Parliament. As you can see, he's still a member of the Budget Committee. And if I were him, I would just sit in that committee and serve faithfully as a member of Parliament, representing the people of Kiaru. So from where I sit having no impact, really. He will just continue this job. He has performed well as a member of Parliament. I hope he will continue performing well as a member of Parliament.
All right. But it would appear it's a direct punishment for anyone who voted no for the impeachment of the deputy president. MPs like Peter Salasia, MPs like Toroitich. It would appear the party, UDO Kenya Kwanza, is still intent on punishing those members.
I think that is wrong, and is trying to amplify a situation that may not be real. And I beg to differ with my great friend, the next governor of Kitui County, and the most experienced legislator in Kenya, because he's being intellectually mischievous by saying that committees of chairs in Parliament are appointed elsewhere. That's not right.
But that's a fact.
That really
he sits in those committees. He understands how the work is.
Even if he does it, I've also sat in the National Assembly, and this
12th Parliament.
There's a difference between the 12th Parliament and the 13th Parliament.
I sat in the 12th Parliament, and I'm also, there's nothing much has changed. The standing orders are the same. And so I think the requirement to change committees or reconstitute the committees of the House is in the standing orders as you start a new session. You are moving to the fourth session. And now, by requirement, the House is expected to reconstitute. That's the rule. Now, that reconstitution has been done by the Appointment Selection Committee of the House, of the two houses. And the names have been approved by the House and assignment to the various committees. The next stage is election of chairs by the members who have been appointed to those committees. So I know there will be elections. I think within the next 1 week or whatever.
It's already been decided because we
already
have names.
So when we talk of somebody not being chair now, I think we are being prejudicial
to the very serious parliamentary processes where the committee members are expected to sit, candidates are nominated and seconded through signing of course, because you must be nominated and seconded, and then cast the vote. That is a democratic practice.
Let's see if
of Parliament.
in the Senate it's any different.
And if there are other conversations elsewhere, in relation to the electoral process, then it's a normal thing.
We do have members of Parliament with us here. One has already said that this is how it's working. We have a senator with us as well. When it comes, because this has already happened in the Senate, the changes in the committee leadership especially, according to Bwanamulu, he says these decisions about who now chairs what are not down to the legislators. It is a decision made elsewhere and only rubber stamped by you. Is that the situation in the Senate?
Fred, thanks for having us this great morning. But as leaders, we are not rubber stamps. We are guided by our standing orders in both houses, National Assembly and Senate. Now, specifically on the issue of our brother, Didi Nyoro, one, I want to first start saying that he's really performed very well. And he's really, because I've really served with him, because I serve as the Vice Chair in the Finance and Budget Committee, whereby he's been serving as the Chair of the Budget Committee, and I've served with him when we have joint committees and also during mediation processes. We've served very closely with him. He's a very competent young man, and I think that's why still he's within the Budget Committee, because it's a very serious committee that need a lot of experience and such, and that's why Dr. Makali also has been serving there and is still serving there because of experience and all that. Now, looking at it from the political perspective, yes, voting will be happening very soon, now after the committees have been approved by the whole House. And currently what is happening right now, of course, there is lobbying. He might not be able, of course, to get the chair seat. But you see, at the end of the day, when we come to Parliament, we don't come as chairs or vice chairs or members of a specific committee. We come to serve Kenyans. You can serve Kenyans from whichever committee. You're a representative, and you can be able to raise any matter to whichever committee. It is never permanent. There's no permanent position for anyone. And these changes normally occur so that you also give other people an opportunity. Probably the incoming chairman will be able to add better values, will be able to add or have something different that they can be able to offer to this country. We should be able to look at it positively, not looking at it that this chair is meant for a specific person. That's not really the case. And more so, the committee's decisions are not decisions of the chair or the vice chair. It is a decision of the whole committee. You know, it's only that the chair gives guidance on how the committee is just running. But all those decisions are decisions of those members. So it's neither here nor there. We need just to move. And I'm happy he's still within the same committee so that he can be able to still continue adding his own experience.
But his removal, Ndindi Nyoro's removal from that prestigious position as chair of the Budgets and Appropriations Committee, where it is said he actually performed quite exemplary. Do you think it will antagonize the Mount Kenya region further? I know the president has been hesitant not to do that. He has not up until now taken any action against CS for Public Service, Bidan Muturi. And now it was said it was the same thinking with Ndindi Nyoro. What has changed?
Thank you so much, Fred, for having us. And let me first of all wish all the Catholic faithful and those members of the AIPCA a fruitful Lenten season. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday. And I wish them the best as they pray and give and seek for forgiveness. Wish that we are together with them. And of course, Ramadan Karim to our Muslim and brothers and sisters. Fred, it is all done. It is part of the script. We said it. It is happening. It's only getting worse. This is what we said is going to happen. It is towards the 50% purge of all the people who voted, who refused to vote towards the impeachment of Honorable Gachagua. It's part of the script. So this is what is going to happen. Everybody who did, and it started with the Senate, and we were here, and we said it's moving to National Assembly. Now, of course, the ideal situation is that, you know, there are some changes after every half of the, and by the way, it's good to clarify, not all. I think it's some of the like budget and others, that has to, lapse towards the midterm and all that. But now, even the ones which are not lapsing, like trade and others, if all these committees, they are going to people who are from ODM in the spirit of the 50%, 50-50 government sharing between Kenya Kwanza and ODM. Is there going to have some political implications? Definitely yes. Because the argument is, and of course the Denyoro, why he is being sacrificed, they say, it's either with us or you are with our enemy. So him standing on the fence is not even the system. Maybe the president may have a soft heart for him. But the people are saying, no, he didn't. The fact that he didn't, we want, actually the people who said we want this seat. It's ODM that came with a condition that we want the budget seat. Now, is there going to be political implications? A big one. And this is what Mount Kenya is saying. Even if the president says that he had issues with Gachagua as a person, why then punish the entire mountain by getting seats from the mountain, giving them out to ODM? That's the question everybody is asking. Because he has been consistently saying, I didn't have a problem with Mount Kenya as a region. I only had a problem with an individual. That's why, quote unquote, I give you back the deputy president. But the people are asking, all these positions were held by members, prominent members from the Mount Kenya region. Why then don't pick the people who voted for Honorable Rigathi Gachagua to go home? That's the biggest question. And so this is what people are saying, that the president seems he's done with the mountain. And he found that even if he gives back this chairman, he will not reap any political value. So according to him, it is done. And it could be seen to be the same narrative that is going on off. Now that the mountain is gone, let's take all these spoils, give them to our newfound allies towards 2027. And that is where the whole thing gets clumsy, because you are saying it's no longer, it's coming out to say now, the narrative of surrounding the mountain, that we can get all these positions, distribute them across the country. How somebody thinks that they can win and rule without Mount Kenya, I still don't understand. Moi did it 92, 97, but this is another season. This is 21st century, and we have so many other factors. So the fact is, and the truth is, and it's good, you see members of National Assembly and Senate, Fred, you don't expect them to come here on national television and say that names come from elsewhere. Names come from somewhere else. There's nothing like an election. Listen, there's nothing like elections on all that. It happens maybe in 0.0001%, where names are given and then committees decide otherwise. That is the fact. We are now saying this is the reality, political reality in the times here. Names will come, they will be shared, you can hear them be mentioned already.
Bwana Makali Mulu, you also removed from the debt committee.
Yes.
Yet you're known to be very knowledgeable on matters economy, and you've said that the names are coming from elsewhere.
No, Fred, initially the reason why I was saying there's no political impact from where I see it, I agree with Mbai, because the reason why I was saying there was no political impact is Mount Kenya went a long time ago. So in terms of whether you touch it, didn't, or you do what, it doesn't affect Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is gone. But I just want to remind you, Fred, if during the debate on the impeachment of the Deputy President Gachagua, I was the first person to say, kufa ndereva, kufa makanga, hata kufa mechanic. I was the first person to go against that motion.
Are you paying for it now?
See what is happening.
Yes.
I was the only person in the wiper wing who was touched in terms of movement. But for me, I've been in this house for long, really. I can serve in any committee with my knowledge and experience. But what we are saying is, look at it this way. If you look at our standing orders, they are very clear. All departmental committees are 5-year term. So when you go to a committee like energy, you serve for 5 years without being touched. When you go to a committee like trade, 5 years. When you go to a committee like roads, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
But what has happened, the others are called select committees, which are 19 in number. So the 19 number, the standing order would say, after 2 years or after the first 4 sessions, they elapse. So in that case, you're supposed to reconstitute the committees. Now, what has happened? Most of the people who voted against Gachagua's motion were heading departmental committees, which are 5-year term, but they have all been removed. So the question is, if you are not playing politics, why do you then interfere with the departmental committees? And I reminded Ichungwa when I was making my contribution. Last parliament, which was the 12th parliament, Ichungwa was my chairman in budget. He was removed the same way when he started associating with the President Ruto. We were together with this gentleman here, you see, this friend of mine. He was removed and replaced by Kanini Kega, who was in the right side of what was wanted then. So the question is, when I say Parliament has lost it, and I've said this many times here, Fred, and I have no apologies saying it. The thing is, even as we were debating yesterday, we know who is earmarked to what position in terms of chair. So when the Speaker was making the statement there that he will be elected in 77 days, it's just circus.
The accusations and claims of executive overreach, especially in its influence with the legislature, have always been there. Are you saying the situation now is worse?
13th Parliament is worse. And you know what is happening? I want to give you what normally happens. I'll come and there, because me, I've been always kichwangumu, you know. Even next week, I'll be taking a form to be the chair budget, just to harass them. I can tell you.
You're giving the secret.
To be chair.
You're giving the secret.
But what will happen, the new members who have come this time, if you attempt to do that, you'll be told, it's either you withdraw that application to be a vice chair or a chair, or we whip you from that committee and we take you to catering. You know, that's where they send everybody.
I've seen another one here where people are being taken, I think,
it's
library,
called catering and
parliamentary broadcasting and library
and
services.
catering, that's the thing, that's a dumping site. And you know why it's a dumping site? Basically because it looks at the done issues of Parliament. So issues like trips, they never come along with that one. The only good thing in that committee, and I wish they take me there, is you eat free food in Parliament. You don't pay for
There's the other angle.
So for me, from where I sit, the politics which President is playing are already done. It's concluded. Let me tell you, the colleagues, our colleagues who are in Kenya Kwanza, who have fought so hard to put this government in place, they have been replaced with the people who are with Makali Mulu in the streets abusing the president and saying this guy is some Kora, he can't deliver anything. Imagine if you are in that state, what would you be feeling? Right. But earlier, we were having a discussion with my friend here, you know, he's a good friend of mine, and he was saying me, in a situation where your father marries many wives, and you are in that situation and you are a son, you have no choice but to call the other mothers my mother. You want it or you don't want it, because your father made that decision.
All right. We've been talking about how much space ODM is looking to get inside this government, and you are on record here saying that will happen in the executive, Parliament will not be affected. But you're seeing that even in Parliament, now Budget and Appropriations Committee is going to ODM. The same former party chairman of ODM is now in charge of Treasury. Do you still hold to...
Those who are not seeing exactly what is happening, I would say are still living in dreams, in denial, and in some illusion. The broad-based government is here to stay, and it is here to get broader. At the executive level, and of course, Parliament is part of the political ecosystem in this country. There are 3 arms of government, but there are 2 arms that operate within a sunshine of political ecosystem. That's the National Assembly and the executive, like it or not, and we are a democracy. And so, the broad-based government will continue entrenching itself. It will continue growing. The partnership between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga is deepening for the good of the country, particularly post-Addis, and you expect more activities within the country. And some of that partnership injures people like Makalu Muli, who are planning other things and which mathematics are not working right as is. But then, if that partnership is incubating reorganization by the members of those political arrangements within the National Assembly, so be it. It is democracy. Okay. Makali Muli knows very well.
That can't be democracy.
You will go and sit in that Budget and Appropriation Committee. You will conduct elections. And who said members of ODM or members of Wiper or members of any other party are not eligible to be elected to chair committees? They are, long as they are members of the committee.
We know, even according to the standing.
But you are misleading. No, I'm not misleading. I'm saying a fact. The standing orders does not bar anybody. And if the broad-based...
Allow him to
Fred, we are on national TV.
Yes.
In Parliament, we have minority and majority. The minority know what committees they should be able to chair for purposes of watchdog committees and oversight. The majority knows which committee to chair. When you bring this mix, where you have even the minority chairing committee, which are procedurally supposed to be chaired by majority, there's no democracy. You're not maturing our democracy.
The standing order does not say don't elect members of minority,
in the House of how
don't
you
elect members of minority to chair committees. It doesn't.
There are traditions.
It doesn't.
Senator, go ahead.
Thank you. You see, Fred, like in our case in Senate, the committee formation is of 9 members. 5 from the majority, as Dr. Makali says, and 4 from the minority. And that's how we've been able to have the chairs and the vice chair positions, because, of course, we are the majority. We're normally 5. In the National Assembly, I think it's 15. 15. So the majority is it 8?
It's normally actually 8 to 7.
8 to 7. And by that default, of course, you'll be able to gain more numbers when you're running for the position of the chair or the vice chair. But the question is this. All those members of Parliament or Senate, they are elected out there, or as us nominated and all that. And as I said earlier, there is no barrier. There is no that the ODM member, who is a Kenyan, who is a member of Parliament, who is qualified, cannot chair. It is the decision of those members. And I'm happy when Dr. Makali says, you know, I'll also toss myself to be one of the candidates. Is there anything wrong like that? Is there anything, as Dr. Sosion is saying, that bars anybody from vying for this position? No, wait. It's one thing to have tradition, but let's not mislead Kenyans, as we are on national TV. There is no problem with Dr. Makali saying, I also am interested in becoming this chair. And is there anything that bars him? Nothing. What happens if Dr. Makali is elected as the chair of the budget? What will happen?
The decision has already been made.
No, hold it on. No. Let's not mislead Kenyans.
He said it.
Fred, if tomorrow, if Dr. Makali cannot move forward and say, I want to be a candidate, if he cannot, if something bars him, nothing bars him. And he might get his own vote, and he might get someone else's vote. Things happen, and that is possible. By the way, Didi Nyoro might decide to vote for Dr. Makali. But then Dr. Makali has his own vote, and then they marshal a few others. And cards happen, things happen. Some might even be absent, and anything can happen. Let me tell you, by the way, between now and the voting day, a lot will be cooking. And things can happen. Of course, the candidate who's probably has been proposed and all that will be.
Moves in Parliament and the Senate have been. Anything unexpected coming next week?
Let me finish, sorry. Thank you. There are committees, by the way, that elections in Senate were left free. Members were left to decide whom they want their chair to be.
Left by who?
By the members, by the leadership, actually. They were told, this is the committee, you guys decide. Because at the end of the day, the House needs a chair and a vice chair.
But there are committees where decisions were already made for the members and told this is how
No, most of the committees actually in Senate, most of them, what happened, like the committees that I serve, members were happy with our work and said, we still want the same leadership to continue serving with us. No, let me tell you, the team, my colleagues, of course, who are affiliated to our former deputy president, some of them did not bother appearing or attending those committees. They had lost hope and everything. So they felt, there's no impact, and they left. It's not permanent. It's not like this has to be like this. So things can happen.
Okay. Final word on this so that
Mwalimu Session, he's always a teacher. Now he's trying to rob even on the panel. He's trying to rob, he's an unionist. He's trying to rob his position even after talking twice. No.
I cannot lobby for opinion in a show. Fred, you have the right to your opinion.
Fred, let's be very, very categorical. We feel, we know. The beauty about Mount Kenya, we have accepted. This is what it is going to be. So we don't want to fight so hard. The truth is this, that names are dished like kafeno. That dawa, names are dished out, like this, coming all the way and being told, it shall be. This one shall be. Then this issue of being told now elections are there because of study in order and Hansard. Or definitely, the case has to go on. But the names have been dished out. That is a fact. Let's not belabor that. Now, And by the way, I don't know why, both in the National Assembly, I think Senate and the county assemblies, all members who wants to be kicked out, they are put in catering and broadcasting and all that. I mean, maybe we need to empower those committees so that also, when members are put there, they also enjoy, those kind of things. But I can tell you this, what has happened right now, the only issue I would want to talk, and this is literally from governance perspective, we are running into a lot of problems for the future, Fred. Do you know why? There's no problem, like she's saying, anybody going to get from ODM running for this position. Remember, chairmen of departmental and these committees are meant for the coalition of the majority coalition. Now, here we have a situation where ODM members are in government. Not unless they make it legal. By making an arrangement, an agreement and posting it, depositing it in the register of political parties. Whatever is happening now is illegal. Now, I hope they are going to make it legal. Because as we speak now, it's something we call incestuous relationship. You don't know who is who and where. It is bad for democracy. It is bad for institutions. It's bad for systems and processes in this country and going forward. Okay. That one I must tell you, Fred. However, having said that, we have agreed to the fact that seats are gone. Like I mentioned before, instead of giving to other members of the region, they have given them away. It is what we said is coming. Okay. That is not enough. I'm sure the ODM will go for the speaker seat. Uh-huh. They may go for these other positions. It's going to be messy as we go on.
Okay, let's move forward because, yes, as we said, sources have indicated that Alego Songa MP Sam Atandi is poised to take over the chairmanship of the Budget Committee, while ODM-nominated MP Irene Mayaka would chair the Regional Integration Committee. James Nikal said to be the favorite for chairmanship of the Health Committee, and Ikolomani MP Bernard Shirali for the Trade Committee. This is just according to sources. We'll wait and see.
And elections have not been done.
Elections have not been done, but already indications are that is a route we'll take.
It's the media writing. That information has not been issued. It's you writing. You are reading your own speech.
I do not want us to reintroduce debate on that.
Don't control.
Allow us to move.
Yeah, we don't print papers.
Allow us to move on.
Those are your words.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to move on.
The committee
I want us to talk about the elephant in the room. The biggest discussion, ladies and gentlemen, this whole week is about the Social Health Authority and the controversies surrounding the same. Social Health Authority. On the front page of the Standard, clueless health CS. Clueless, why? Because she appeared before the Senate and whatever answers she was giving to the questions she was asked were not satisfactory. Yesterday she called for a press briefing and she still was not able to give satisfactory answers. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has dismissed claims that there are controversies surrounding the Social Health Authority. It is one of the stories that we've packaged here at TV47. Let's watch it, then come back and discuss the same.
The mystery surrounding the true ownership of a system that holds the health records of millions of Kenyans has taken an unexpected turn, with the Ministry of Health now differing with the Auditor General's report, which states that the government does not control the SHA system or own its intellectual property rights.
I believe the President addressed that yesterday. Yes. The President addressed that yesterday.
This coming a day after President William Ruto also expressed concerns about the report refuting claims made by the Office of the Auditor General that the government lost 104.8 billion Kenya shillings in the procurement of the Social Health Authority system. The President further blaming fraudsters, accusing them of looting the now defunct NHIF.
The leakage of resources, now we are able to track. We are able to track and hold accountability.
Hii makelele mnasikia kwa hii mitandao na nini ni watu ambao walikuwa wanaibia sisi siku ya NHIF. These are brokers.
President Ruto's remarks came just a day after the Auditor General Nancy Gathungo told Parliament to take action on those behind SHA technology illegalities. The Auditor General's report revealed that the ownership of the system and all intellectual property rights shall remain in the ownership of the consortium. But now, the Ministry of Health says it is ready to defend its management report on SHA at the floor of the House.
Collections for SHIF. We have bank accounts with the 6 commercial banks, and we also have an M-Pesa number that are fully registered under SHA. And those are the channels we are using to receive the money. and we reconcile our receipts with those banks on a daily basis. And I can assure you that there is no single cent that goes somewhere else.
We are cognizant of the issues that were raised by the Auditor General. The Ministry clarified and substantiated each issue and provided the management report to the Auditor General.
The Auditor General's report further states that the project, which was not subjected to competitive bidding, was excluded from the procurement plan and mid-term budgetary expenditure framework, violating Section 53, subsection 7 of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act of 2015. Treasury CS John Mbadi has also defended the SHA program, saying they will disburse 6 billion Kenya shillings to fund the primary healthcare and the emergency chronic and critical care funds.
I hope and I believe that the line ministry will do justice to Kenyans by making this system work, make it more efficient and make it more accountable.
A statement from State House has confirmed that NHIF had a debt of 33 billion Kenya shillings when it was winding up its operations in November 2024. All hospitals with a total claims of 10 million Kenya shillings and below will be paid in full, with those with more than 10 million will be subjected to a verification exercise that should be completed within 90 days, after which a payment plan will be agreed upon. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
So we have a CS who's unable to answer to questions regarding what's happening with the Social Health Authority. We're having statements directly from State House, the President himself talking about amounts to be paid to hospitals below 10 million shillings, amounts that the President should not be bothering with, probably the CS should be talking about. We have questions, we have a report by the Auditor General saying that the system that runs Social Health Authority is in private hands. Bwana Makali Mulu, I know you've been deep in this conversation as a member of the National Assembly. Are you satisfied with what is happening with that explanation given there by the Ministry of Health?
You know, the headline says clueless health CS. And I think in Kenya, almost in that sector, everybody clueless. It's not the CS alone. Even the director, as he says. You know, the thing is, for me, I think really, Fred, when I look at this issue of SHA, I think the people really who designed SHA in terms of design, they must have died. Because it looks like the people who designed and the people who are implementing are totally different teams. And that's why you see things are not falling in place. For example, if you look at that system, the digital system, and this is a system we have discussed many, many times. And if you look at the history, initially, the Safaricom had quoted for the same system about that 2 billion, When the issue of the consortium came in, and more so the Andani group, it moved from that 2 to 104 billion. And the question is, what changed that figure from that 2 to about 104? Your guess is as good as mine. That some pockets must have been lined up. So, and you know, when you line up pockets, many things can happen. Because what we are saying is, NHIF has been with us since independence. If you look at the list of NHIF, it has taken care of Kenyans for many, many years. And from where I sit, I was saying, did we identify the gaps in NHIF so that we could not improve them to the level we want instead of disbanding it? The other question is, I hear the president talking about corruption in NHIF. Is there no corruption in this SHA? I think the Auditor General has confirmed there is corruption. So if there was corruption in NHIF and there is corruption in SHA, what is the difference? When did we think about improving NHIF to a level that we do away with all the gaps in terms of corruption, gaps in terms of technology, gaps in terms, whatever gaps were there, so that we address them. And you know, if you look at the way things are being done currently, I always like to give you the example of the phone. This Samsung. If you remember where Samsung started, the original Samsung was like a small phone with minimal features. But what has happened? Over time, it still remains Samsung, but they keep on building on the technology, bringing in new new services to the phone. It still remains Samsung because it's a name. NHIF would have still remained NHIF, and we do all this change within NHIF without really all this mess up. But you see, the way this thing is structured, we did provide the legal framework as Parliament. We passed the laws, and the laws are there. But the implementation part is facing serious, serious challenges, and more so the transition phase. And that's why we are saying, my mother in my rural home called Mulundi village, what she wants is to go to hospital, be treated, and go home. She doesn't care whether this thing has gone through computer or it has been what. What she wants is I get to a hospital, I'm attended to, and I go home. How many Kenyans have we seen on television saying, I'm not able to access the services? Some have gone to an extent of even visiting the headquarters of Ministry of Health, and they have been arrested, taken to court because of saying, I can't access the services. So for me, from where I sit, the Auditor General has brought it out. There was corruption in this thing all the way from procurement. We want for a special purpose facility in terms of procurement. That was deliberate. We've not managed to get anything right. We have only two choices. Accept the mistake we made, improve, and move. And I've said it many times, Kenya Kwanza government will not be assessed to be foolish if they sat and said, we have learned our lessons. Based on these lessons for the last 6 months, we are improving 0.1, 2, 3. Okay. The other thing is, unless they do that, then this will be a commercial entity instead of a health service to the Kenyans.
Okay. And the challenges within the social health and SHIF are very obvious, and we've talked about them. But now looking at the front page of the Standard, could we be blaming the wrong person? Because you can see clearly the CS for Health is hesitant to give conclusive answers on some of the questions being asked. And we're seeing the president very keen to be issuing answers straight from State House.
I think we are missing the point by trying to politicize and concentrate on real issues that are non-issues. The rollout of universal health coverage is very urgent. We are now 5 months into the rollout after very many attempts, and the responsibility of doing it, the persons are known, and the leadership for the same is known. Fred,
which is because
yes,
do we have the right person on the front
There is
page?
A ministry,
okay,
and there are personnel, and they are doing the day-to-day work, and they're doing it, and that this program has run for 5 months. Fred, I want you to know, to roll out UHC is not as simple. It's not a walk in the park. Kibaki tried in 2003. It could not work because we could not map out where to get money, and there was a suggestion for public servants to lose their medical allowance so that it can be used to finance the entire program. That did not work. In 2010, 2011, there was an attempt to bring it back by piloting the outpatient. It was dogged by a lot of controversies, and NHIF was unable to deliver that. And of course, that led to the firing of the CEO, the chair, and the entire board. It collapsed. Uhuru administration came with an unstructured arrangement of trying to roll out UHC. It did not work. William Ruto's administration conceived this as a pillar in the manifesto, which was voted for by Kenyans in the election. And the infrastructure and design of rolling it is so strong. But that does not mean it doesn't have challenges. It has challenges, and those challenges must be alleviated. And some of the challenges are arising from the defunct NHIF. And I can tell you in 2011, when we were pushing this thing because we had interest as teachers, when it collapsed, I personally had to ship teachers out of NHIF because we could not postpone the delivery of healthcare. And we ran our own insurance scheme at the Teacher Service Commission, which has now run for 10 years, and it has covered teachers very well. But when we talk of universal health coverage, NHIF could not do, because NHIF was a club of contributors, of workers. Now, the UHC...
I'm now concerned that you keep going back to NHIF
yes,
when explaining SHA.
And now it is repealed. It is repealed. The transition is that all Kenyans must be treated. What is the model? It is mixed model.
Can we focus on SHA and its challenges now?
Yes, I'm now talking about SHA. The delivery of SHA is a mixed model arrangement. That one, the primary healthcare facilities, that is level 2, 3, is fully financed and paid for by the government. Anybody going for outpatient treatment, that is fully paid for by government. It's not paid by Sha. And Sha, when you come down to the arrangement of Sha, within the chief, it takes over from level 4, 5, and 6.
Now, we are clear about the structure, how it's been laid out, how Sha is supposed to work.
Yes.
The problem is the challenges that have existed.
Now, let me come to the current
is
challenge.
unable to explain them or give proper answers.
The digital program.
Yes.
Why the digital program? And that is covered in the Act, what we call the Digital Health Act. A lot of corruption and control challenges were noticed in NHIF and UHC. It cannot be rolled out without a compliant and efficient infrastructure system. And in fact, when he's talking about Safaricom quoted 32 billion.
Do we have a reliant and efficient digital system? That's the question.
Yes, this infrastructure
which is in private hands.
This infrastructure in place is led by Safaricom itself, and it is procured through what we call special procurement process. Okay. That does not go through competitive process.
Senator.
And Senator, that is well within law.
The Auditor General's report is before the Senate.
It is well within law.
Yes, Fred.
There's some clauses in there that are questionable on the contract. The issue about where the arbitration in case of any issue will be, because they say any arbitration has to be done in London, not in Kenya, despite the fact that we have procurement laws in Kenya. There are issues about blocking the government from ever producing any other system that could do the same work. Yeah? When we talk about efficiency of a system, are you comfortable that this is a route we took?
Now, Fred, you've been trying to ask and bring out like the challenge of Sha. And let me tell you where the challenge of Sha is. The challenge of Sha is how it has been politicized. We have politicized Sha, negated Sha to a point whereby the common mwananchi also has adapted that. And how have we politicized it? When we've all come and we are bashing and negating about the Sha. 18 million Kenyans registered Sha. You want to tell me the 18 million Kenyans were foolish?
Senator,
no.
Are you saying the Auditor General's report is bashing Sha?
Hold on.
Yes.
We are coming there. I'm coming there. Now, out of the 18, apparently, only 4 million are remitting their dues. And this 4 million is a category that is, of course, employed me and you. And then there's a 14 million which are not remitting. And these are where the challenges are. Why? Simply because during NHIF, as we give examples, because we have to give examples, Fred, we are coming from NHIF to Sha. And that is where all the comparison is. We are not coming from another animal to Sha. We are coming from there. So we have to compare. The minimum amount was 500. We've been paying for our parents because they are not employed. 500 per month. But now apparently, this amount that you need to pay a Sha apparently is determined by your household's items, how you live, blah, 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 and all that. So in the event of registering, oops, an amount pops up. And probably the Kenyan was not prepared. And apparently, how it was put to the Kenyan, it sounded like it is free. Free in the sense that when you go to the hospital, you're not paying anything. But now there's a message that has been left here that no, you have to register and pay, because the way the advertisement was this registration is free. And these are some of the questions we are asking the ministry.
Are you getting the answers?
Fred, we are getting answers, and actually I want to come there. These headlines that are being put, they're not being put by Kenya Kwanza. They are put by you, the media. You are putting that she's clueless. She's not clueless. Today, I'm sitting in the Committee of Health.
On the front page,
CS, a
lot of your members, your colleagues in the Senate are quoted there on the front page.
Our members, Fred.
Richard Onyonka,
Fred.
Edwin Sifuna, Enoch Wambua, Okiya Omtata, all questioning.
We have the answers here. Listen, Fred, I'm telling you. Actually, I'm sitting in the Committee of Health. Today at 10:30, latest 11, Madam Deborah, CS Deborah, is appearing before my Committee for Health, where I'll be privileged to continue asking her, one, why is it they've not redrafted the message that they've sent to Kenyans out there, that this Sha is not free in the sense that you just sit back. You have to pay something. It's only that it is subsidized. Okay? And you find that those ones who are employed, the more you earn, the more you've been able to pay, so that we are able to take care of the fund, it takes care of the primary and everything, the emergency, the equipment and all that. The report by the Auditor General. That is a report. What happens after a report has been tabled by the Auditor General? It goes to the next process, and the final house is us, Parliament. What we need is time to be able to go through. We are not disputing. We want to ask, this 32 billion, as Dr. Makali says, from Safaricom, was it annual? Was it for 10 years? Was it for 6 months? We need details. How was it agreed to? You know, what was the agreement, so that we can be able to compare with this. This is 104. 104, according to the information, is that it's supposed to be for 10 years. It's not a 1 year, you know, and we need to know the data that it's being held.
Fair enough. At least you said you will scrutinize the report
Of course we are going to scrutinize, but this is the thing, because allow us to tell Kenyans the truth. We are politicizing this thing. Little are we forgetting that the people out there, our own relatives, that are visiting still these hospitals, whatever is affecting us as leaders is also affecting you and the others. Can we desist trying to make it so negative? Because wakati ugonjwa unakuja, haujui wakati ambapo unakuja. So we need to allow such that we focus on the solution for sure.
Allow me to cut you short there. Time for us to take a break, but we'll be back to continue with this conversation, which has been and continues to be the biggest talking point this whole week. Social health authority and the challenges therein. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water.
Yes. Should be able to see the
Reason to imagine.
If your urine is colored.
An attempt by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah to fend off claims that the government is not seeking to undermine the independence of the Office of the Auditor General in the wake of her audit reports exposing government entities, the latest being the Social Health Authority SHA. The Public Audit Amendment Bill 2024, currently before the National Assembly and headed to the committee stage, is causing jitters with a section of lawmakers and human rights groups, fearing the Auditor General might become a target and be removed as the head and accounting officer of National Audit Office.
And we want to encourage you
that we who are believers in transparency and utilization, proper utilization of the funds of this country, we are going to stand with you. Let nobody threaten you with whatever it is we can hear people saying in the corridors there. Kenyans are behind you. They are fully behind you, and we as representatives of the people are also fully behind you.
In a statement on X, Ishungwa has dismissed the fears, saying, and I quote, "The propaganda lords have crafted their own non-existent bill on the office of the Auditor General with provisions that only exist in their infertile imaginations." Jitters on the bill come even as head of the Public Service Felix Koskei pushes for a zero-fault audit of all government entities, meaning no audit queries should be raised, a directive that Kadhungu has rejected.
And I have to audit and issue a report. Schools, I'm still behind. Now we are planning for 2023-2024 for 9,000 schools. You look at those financial statements, they are not even auditable because there's some level of training that they need to go through. Now, if we say that we do not audit, what is the cutoff?
Certain clauses in the bill and the preceding act, among them the powers of the Audit Advisory Board to have control over budget, human resources and other matters, have raised concerns on conflict of interest as members of the board are from entities the auditor audits. Critics further argue empowering the advisory board to oversee budget and HR operations undermines the Auditor General from operating independently. Critics have also raised concerns on the new bill, which they say limits the qualifications of individuals seeking the Auditor General's office, with the bill stating a practicing member of good standing of a professional body of accountants, a proposal they say will open the doors to foreigners on a body that audits sensitive security agencies. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Yes, just one more person in the line of fire regarding some of these issues raised. The Auditor General now, her position at risk. So, from a leadership and governance perspective, BAMBA, on one hand, the Senator says they will receive the report from the Auditor General and scrutinize it, and probably from that will get a way forward. On the other hand, a different House of Legislation is looking to undermine the same Auditor General. Do you trust that the Houses of Parliament will actually take seriously some of these issues raised by the Auditor General, and in particular, the one about the Social Health Authority?
Thank you very much. And let me go back for 1 minute to answer this headline. I pity CS Deborah Barasa in a very big way. She's been put in some swimming pool, in some whatever, with some, to just swim and fry alone. Unfortunately, decisions about Sha is not made in the ministry. Decisions are made elsewhere. And she has to check what she says. Because if she there contradicts the big bosses, she's going to be in trouble. We must be very, let's be very fair with some of these state officers. She's a highly placed professional from where she came from. Let's be fair. We are allowing her to be roasted by media, parliamentary committees, and yet she is not in control. Decisions are made elsewhere. Remember, who owns the system? These are people. 2.5% is a lot of money. There are people waiting for that money, so they can't dare anybody contradict them. Those are the facts. Now, Fred, when Kenyans ask questions very honestly and very calmly, please answer the questions. Every question needs to be answered. Mm-hmm. Don't shout at Kenyans because they're asking questions. They're asking very simple questions. When you condemn NHIF and say it was being rooted, Fred, no ordinary Kenyan...
When Association, you're interfering with the...
No, he's still Robin for his opinion. That Kenyan from Naivasha, from Vihiga, from Voi, has no capacity, Fred, to root NHIF. It is the big boys who are rooting. So don't come and tell us that it has been looted. By who? It's the big sharks. And they are the ones who are moving to Sha. You must masquerade. You must do a somersault. Give it a bad name, kill it, get another figure with 104 billion, because the idea was to upgrade NHIF. Required only 700 million. I know. Ask me. I have the figures. I know. It required only 700 million to upgrade NHIF, to seal all the loopholes, to make it functional, right? 104 billion, so that there can be more avenues. Now, those are the questions of the journalism, and I'm coming to that point. Who owns, the three entities? Private, right? Questions. Please answer Kenyans like an assess school kid. When the questions are asked, that's why they are not paying, because there's no believability. You see, and you see, if there's suspicion, and there are so many other like projects in the government, suspicion comes in. Now let me tell you this. So when Kenyans ask you questions, NHIF, you give it a bad name. Why didn't you arrest the people who are messing NHIF? You are talking about pending bills of that 3 billion. Can you give us the names of the companies behind? And why did government allow such corruption to happen? Who are these people? They must be powerful people in government. Number 2, so the systems, right? 2.5%. Who do the people, the 2.5% companies, do they have link to senior government officials? Those are the questions people are asking. Now let's come.
Are we confident that the Houses of Parliament will scrutinize this report to that extent?
And that's what I'm going to. Now, when we talk now about the Auditor General, Fred, let's be very clear. We have in these systems. Auditor General cannot publish a report before they give everybody a chance to write back reports. They normally ask questions. All these questions Nancy Kazungu has asked to the relevant ministries. They give them time to respond. By the time the Auditor General report is written, already they have refused. So even the Auditor General, who is a state officer, paid by the government money, she has not gotten answers. That's why she has come to the public to say, I have not gotten answers. So the question is, with the National Assembly and whatever, now the problem we have in this government is one. Fred, let's be practical here, is that it is beholden by the executive. So a lot of times what we are going to see, we are going to see a lot of bashing. Then they are going to make a lot of
very little faith.
Nothing is going to come out of. They are going to crash.
Senator, I want to say something.
And they are going to demonize the Auditor General for nothing.
Senator.
Thank you so much. You know, Fred, I listened to you keenly. The questions that you asked us, especially Daktari, Susion, myself, you asked what are the challenges. And that's what we've been trying to communicate. Because what is important is the common mwananchi waking up this morning and visiting a hospital and the Sha, having a challenge. That is what you wanted us to talk about.
No.
But what I'm hearing my good brother talk about...
beyond what patients are going through, including the administration of Sha, is a serious challenge.
Where the problem is and why we're having all these issues for Sha is because when that patient goes to that particular hospital, he or she is not able to be paid for the services that he or she has received. That is the biggest challenge. But now I hear my brother say there are big sharks. It is very simple. Can he name the big sharks? He says the upgrade was only to cost 7 million. Can he even be able... 700 million, no problem. Can he be able to say, to table and say, by the way, this is how the budget would have been. Hold on.
Isn't it the same thing that is before the Senate through the Auditor General's report?
No, I'm just trying to bring to light the conversation that we are having on this table. At the same time, he says, as much as this Auditor General report will come to Parliament, already the executive is there, so there's nothing that will be. Why so much negativity on where we are on these matters of Sha? Because we are moving from what the Mwananchi is experiencing to this digital system is not going to work. They are cartels, they are receiving 2.5. Where is this 2.5? Where is the agreement that says there's 2.5 and all that? Those are we are deviating from trying to look at that common Mwananchi issues, and the issue is the challenge that they are facing when they go to that particular hospital and those bills cannot be paid, so they cannot receive the medical services.
Mulu first, because the issue is there's this report before the Senate. It talks about the main digital structure that carries Sha. Yes, the fact that it is in private hands. Forget about the other challenges about the patients. The administration of the Social Health Authority. The system is in private hands. There could be cartels or there could be private entities that are benefiting from that directly. Question is, will the Houses of Parliament be able to scrutinize it to a conclusive point? Because the issue about the Auditor General, she says she's not able to call for termination of this system. But the Houses of Parliament can do that. Are you confident they will?
Now what has happened? Let me explain this. In an ideal audit situation, once the Auditor General comes up with a draft report, what they normally do, they will do a management letter to the PS of the ministry, saying, we have looked at your books, these are the issues which are not clear to us. Can you explain, can you provide information in terms of these gaps? Now, if they are able to provide information, that information never finds, that recommendation never finds itself in the final report. It will now be said that has been clarified. So anytime you look at an auditor report, the final report, and you find there are issues being raised there, it means those issues have not been explained by the accounting officer up to the level, up to the satisfaction of the Auditor General. And that's why I've always said that. Now, when these reports come to us, what they have done, and this is a constitutional provision, that the Auditor General will table their report in Parliament. That's the final destination of Auditor General's report. Now, when it's tabled in Parliament, it will normally either go to the PAC or to PIC, Parliamentary Accounts Committee or Parliamentary Investment Committee. And then now there are other special committees which have been created. Now, in that case, it is the work of the committee to look at the report, and at times they will even summon the same accounting officers to come and explain issues which are not clear. Now, once PAC makes resolutions, it's the work of Parliament now to act. The challenge we have been having, and I've been there for long, is that most times PAC would come and say, we have looked at this report, and they send it back to the investigating agencies. They either send it back to the DCI or send it back to the SEC for further investigation. Now the question is, when you send a report back to DCI for further investigation, and DCI is part of the executive, and the report is talking about the executive not doing things right, are you able to get anything? So I think as Parliament, we have failed in our duty, because we should be saying, this particular officer has been assessed to be, by the Auditor General, to be not using public resources in the most effective manner. On the basis of that, is either you reduce their budget, or you recommend that they should be sent home. And the good thing is, as Parliament, we have the tools and the means to send a CS home. We have the tools and the means to send a PS home. We have the tools and the means to send a president home. And we have shown it very clearly by sending the DP home. So that being the case, we are not doing our work. We keep on push and back and push back to the executive, come back to us. So if we really want to help this country, Fred, from where I sit, and more financial matters, because that's my area of expertise, I think time has come when Parliament must take their position that if we find that a cabinet secretary has misappropriated or misdirected public resources, that is a good reason to start an impeachment process.
Okay.
So that we send them
So
home.
this is doubt from a member of the National Assembly on whether or not this Auditor General's report will be of any consequence. Do you think Parliament, either House of Parliament, will be able to actually act on this report conclusively?
Fred, the universal health coverage rollout has been frustrated for the last 22 years. It cannot be frustrated now. It should not. As a matter of national interest, and personally, I speak passionately for people who are sick. I saw teachers who were sick, who could not pay bills, who could not be evacuated for international treatment. Even as we argue here, those of us who are healthy, who are not sick, who have not even gone for treatment, there is somebody who has to go to the dispensary for treatment today. There is somebody who has to go for dialysis, and we can see dialysis patients are very happy across the country. There is somebody who has to be admitted. We cannot waste our time and energy in politics and convoluted business at the expense of making UHC work. And the president has shown all the intention to deliver. And if Kibaki did not deliver, Uhuru did not deliver, and President William Ruto is determined to have it delivered, I think the best we can do as a country is to cooperate and get rid of the challenges.
Does cooperating mean not calling out where obvious wrongs are happening?
Yes.
Where such a system about Kenya's health system is in private hands?
I'm getting to that. First, even you as media and all of us, can we agree there are positive achievements with Sha? One, for the last 5 months, expenditure at shift level, that is admissions and other cases, is at 18 billion. Those are people who have been treated under Sha, and payments made promptly at the end of each month. Different from what we had with
going back to NHIF again.
Number two, the primary health care at the dispensaries, at least 2 billion has been spent. And it was an average of 400 million for October to December, and January it leaped to 800 million. That shows a lot of activity. Kenyans are going for treatment, and Kenyans are giving testimonies. Some work is working.
But
critical illnesses, dialysis patients and all that.
Everyone would want the health system to work.
It's already working. The thing is, these challenges, let us address them objectively and in a manner that is procedural.
What if it's a systemic challenge?
Auditor's report.
Yes.
Let me come to the auditor's report. Allow me to come to the auditor's report. And let us not create stories that somebody wants to frustrate the office of the Comptroller and Auditor General. It is an independent office. It is a constitutional office. It has availed a report. There are reservations that we have, like even 2.5% does not exist. It is, and I have confirmed, that is not what has been agreed. It's not even in the contract document. Even this controversy is still in court. There are other interests. But nobody has threatened the Comptroller and Auditor General. And that report, rightly has been stated by Macaulay, is now property of the National Assembly. They can summon the Ministry of Health. And I've seen the response to all the queries by the Ministry of Health, which make a lot of sense. So in this situation, we are only listening to one side of the story and wasting our time.
One side being the Auditor General?
Yes, being the Auditor General.
It is a state office.
The Auditor General's report is not final.
Okay.
It shall be subjected to further scrutiny, further interrogation. The ministry will give their version.
Right.
And Parliament will make a verdict. So yes, I think what you are doing here is that we are not dealing with this matter fairly. Let's listen to both sides, the Auditor General's report and the report of the Ministry of Health.
Yet we are seeing a pattern here. We are seeing a pattern here. With this administration, we are seeing a pattern here. Where serious systems for revenue collection or monies paid by the general public are going to private hands. We have the e-citizen, now we have the SHA digital system, where monies are paid and they go on this one, according to the Auditor General report, they go to an escrow account.
But
there are private partners in all sectors of government.
You brought news here just a few minutes ago, whereby the CEO for Sha said that the funds or the monies are in the banks. There is no money that the Auditor General said the money is lost. She just explained and said, these are the funds and these are the expenses, that 104 billion, blah, 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 and all that. And there's a procedure. And even Mheshimiwa Macaulay agrees and says it has to come to Parliament for further scrutiny.
Yes.
What is the procedure? He goes further and tells you and says, after that, we normally table a report that now we recommend and say further investigations to be conducted. Who conducts investigations? Does Parliament do? We ask members of Parliament conduct investigations.
So we do not expect any consequence.
No, wait. Now, it is these other government bodies, the DCI, the ESCC, to further the investigation. And
if
now,
if
there's any crime, they arrest the culprits and all that. But now,
Senator, I'd mentioned a clause there earlier, where in case of any dispute, any arbitration will not happen in Kenya. So investigations by DCI will be inconsequential.
No.
All this has to go to London.
Those are also reports that we have to scrutinize, because that is your word.
That's according to the Auditor General's report.
We still have to look at it. We still have to further look at it. We don't want to conclude at this particular point, but we don't want to miss the point, for Christ's sake. Our relatives ask me and you, we can get sick anytime. And we are just trying to say, can we address the challenges of Sha? And as I earlier communicated, they say one of the biggest problems is how the communication was done. 14 million Kenyans are not able to pay. They've registered, but they are not paying, which brings a challenge. How can the ministry effect these payments and ensure that these people are able to pay? You understand?
Just for record, this is what we are saying. Please, nobody has any problem. This issue of bashing, Auditor General is a state officer. It's not an opposition person. Listen, it's not from opposition. She just came with a report and said, I cannot also not get answers. Now, when she says that, people who are trying to defend government should not be all over the place trying to over-defend. Just answer the questions. Now that the first level, the questions were not answered, we are hoping that both houses of Parliament.
Are you confident they will do anything?
We have a big question. And by the way, Mheshimiwa Daktari mentioned that they were able to kick out Gachagua under a lot of coercion and, creasing of hands and money and all that. So let's not go there, that they were able to kick out Gachagua. No, right now, the executive, both houses are beholden by the executive. Whether they are going to bring out a report that sheds bad light on government is questionable. And let me tell you, there's something called believability. Why Kenyans, let me answer for 1 minute. Why Kenyans are not contributing? Because there are questions. Why can't I appeal for the last time? Kindly, those people who are managing Sha and She, go list, there are like 5 questions. Answer them one by one in a layman's language.
Okay.
Why? What happened?
I think we're in agreement.
Where is the 2.5? Why are you bashing? By the way, the moment you hear senior government officials bashing at the general, Kenyans are getting very well.
Allow me.
It's not an opposition
We only have about 7 minutes.
Answer the questions.
We only have about 7 minutes.
Let somebody answer the. Allow
me, Sosion, to lay down how we're going to do it.
Let somebody answer the
question is clueless health CS. It has been said by this panel that the issue is how these issues are being communicated, the challenges and the doubts surrounding Sha. On page 10 of this paper, this is the Daily Nation, it talks about Kagwe tipped for health docket in cabinet shake-up. Yes? So Mutahi Kagwe, who has previously led that ministry. Could actually make a comeback to that in the near future. As you make your final comments, do you think this could be a proper answer to many of the challenges that we are facing in the health sector?
Mutahi Kagwe?
Yes. From where I say it's about communicating.
From where I said it earlier, unless Mutahi Kagwe was part of the design team, you still be a clueless health CS. You will not be able to answer any question. Matters Sha. He may do well in other areas, but this one, I think the person who has the password needs to share it with the rest of Kenyans.
And that's your parting shot?
That's my parting shot.
All right, Bonasosian.
We need to build a very strong healthcare system that outlast individuals and that are not linked to individual systems that work, that even when there will be a different president in Kenya, that system will be working. Where if there is a new CS tomorrow, that system is working. And if there are other technical personnel, the system is working. We need a system that works. And moving forward, I appreciate that there is need for constant, genuine feedback from across the country. The ministry should open strong feedback mechanisms so that the hitches and challenges are addressed, and the entire country needs to be mobilized towards the success of UHC. Healthcare is a very critical service that should not be politicized. And if there are challenges, let us address them honestly. Whether reports from Comptroller and Auditor General, whether reports from those whistleblowers in case there are also cartels interested in sabotaging it. We want a system that works. And by the full circle of 1 year, that is 1st of October, we should be able to have a story told in the success in the universal health coverage, and that all Kenyans can be treated, and that Makali Muli can walk to Kitui General Hospital to get treated with the families without seeking elsewhere. I think we have a mammoth duty, all of us as Kenyans, to ensure that we have a working universal health coverage system. And I have every trust personally that we are headed there. This debate is healthy, but let us address the issues genuinely and honestly. Okay. That is how we can turn around our healthcare system.
Thank you, Bonasosian. Senator.
Let us stop politicizing the issue of Sha. It is so unfair, whereby some of us, as leaders and people who are in the good employment sectors, we have an opportunity to have a very good insurance. And us as leaders, our insurance is paid by taxpayers' money. It is unfair when we keep politicizing and not looking at where the challenges are, and we address them collectively. It is not, sickness is not an opposition issue, it's not just a government issue. It is our issue, all of us as Kenyans collectively. Our relatives, brothers and sisters are going through all these medical issues, and you never know. You never know when your time will come. Can we focus, even the media, can we just focus for a healthy nation? The president wants really to ensure that Sha is working. And that is why yesterday he helped in direction that all hospitals, less 10 million be paid. And we are also suggesting, even the ones that are above 10, at least to get that basic 10 million, so that operations can be able to continue. A healthy nation, a wealthy nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Now, number one.
I just wanted to ask you,
number one,
have done that.
Even the big ones should be paid some money. Because even the big providers also, they also give services. Number two, please, even if you bring Mutahi Kagwe to this minister, Fred, and you don't allow ministers to do their work, like what we see during Kibaki's time, that is a problem. If decisions are made elsewhere and you are dished out to go and fry with them, get roasted with them, we are not good to get a way forward. Can't we allow people to make technical people? There are so many very polished technical people in this government, but sometimes they are not able to express themselves because they must not do up to some level because somebody else has to structure what they are saying. Now, let me say this. Everything in government, Fred, rises and falls on communication. Everything is about communication. There is something called political communication. You have to know how to communicate. Unfortunately, In a lot of systems, in Africa, in many governments.
Do you think Kagwe would be a better communicator?
I'll tell you this. Let me tell you what happens. He will not be himself. He has to wait for some decisions to be made elsewhere, and he has to go and defend the indefensible. For example, he was not there when the 2.5 deal was crafted. He doesn't know the owners. He can't go because he'll be told to stop there. Don't answer this question. Now let me say this. Unfortunately, Fred, governments, they communicate late, incoherently, always unconvincingly, by people who don't believe what they are saying. That is the biggest problem in government. I have done political communication. You must move with the people. You must answer all the questions asked, Fred, because these are your clients. That's why out of only 18 million, only 4 million are contributing because they're asking questions. They are waiting for answers. Now, trustability and believability is the biggest thing that governments must cultivate across the world. If you don't have that, you're not going to move with the people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Mbaye, leadership and governance expert. Senator Tabitha Mutinda, Wilson Sossion, Mwalimu Wilson Sossion, who served as a member of the National Assembly and also as a Secretary General of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, and Dr. Makali Mulu, MP Kitui Central. For your time at TV47 this morning, these have been our panelists on State of the Nation as we take a look at the big headlines. There's one more we didn't get time to discuss, this storm created by President William Ruto's latest donation to a church in Roysambu, and that features on the front page of the Daily Nation. Pastors paying for 20 million shilling Ruto gift. Apparently amesalamiwa hadi akatupa simu. Yes. Meanwhile, the big...
He has to write a letter signed by himself to say, he's saying he has not received the money, right? Yes. He has to write, Allah is on Sunday, everybody is going to jump the church, right?
Yeah. Pains and gains go together.
I mean, you cannot say I've burned her face, then you go try to say that God loves givers.
Asanteni sana.
Last year, God loved.
That's all the time we had for State of the Nation today. Another conversation coming after the break on matters law. Do stand by for that. My colleague Arno Dida will be in studio for that conversation. My name is Fred Indimuli. Good morning.